I'm just saying, if you sometimes have those goals to get up, to talk, to do things, to grow your business, to go after goals in your personal life, whatever, and it feels hard or it feels like that's it, there's too much stuff getting in the way, let that be your green light to keep freaking going forward, because there's probably a reason something or someone's trying to hold you back, because you are meant for something really great.
Oh, okay. So this is a life update episode where I'm sharing what was happening this week, but I brought on one of my amazing, amazing friends, Taryn Jerez. She's here with me joining. If you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see us. We're doing like a little coffee chat today. You might not know this, but we actually presented together at a women's empowerment conference from Forsyth Women. It's called the Women on the Move Conference. And networking was what we were told to speak on. And we kind of stepped into it in a different way. And this morning, I literally messaged Taryn and was like, hey, I feel like more people need to hear this. Let's get on a call. Taryn, I'm so glad you can make it. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I was like, I'm down. I'm like, that's great.
I love it. And then, so we got these cute little speaker bags from Brooke at Forsyth Women. They put it together. So if you guys are on our YouTube, you can see, but we'll talk you through it if you're not and you're listening on podcast.
Yes,
so
we'll describe all the goodies.
Oh my gosh. Did you see the fanny pack?
Okay, so I had a lot to say about the fanny pack. I was like, this is going to make me and force me to embrace this like trend, because
so
I
haven't
got on board.
How long have I had been using a fanny pack?
Oh, I feel like you're the trendsetter over here.
I mean,
I'm still like, ooh, this is okay. I could do this. But now I'm like, oh, I have to. This is so cute.
You have to. Yeah. So we did get a fanny pack. Y'all know I already wear fanny packs. But no, the kids these days are wearing them across their chest. So I got a Lululemon dupe one that I definitely do that with. But inside of it, I think this is so cute. But this is so funny.
You already have some heart shades that you rocked in your photo shoot.
I have 8 pairs of these now. I'm going to bring them to my besties' bachelorette party and have all the girls wear them. Because I now have officially, Tom was like, you have to get rid of them. I was like, no, I have a complete set now.
No, the hearts are so cute. We got these adorable little claw clips.
Yeah. So if you guys have seen these, they're like the flower claw clips that I've actually worn in real life before.
I think that these items, or at least the claw clips, are from, there's a boutique where I'm located in Winston-Salem in North Carolina called Evelyn Rose Boutique. And so I think that's from them.
So sweet.
Okay, so what we're holding in our hands are these beautiful taupe camel color and white blocked, like super fuzzy blankies.
Yes.
Yeah, like checkered blanket.
Yes, basically it's brown and white and it's super soft, and mine's already open, so my bad, it wasn't cute and bundled together. I already opened it. But did you see the mug? So I'm drinking from this cute orange mug, and it is
little campfire speckled orange mugs with the Black Mountain chocolate logo.
Is that local?
So I got, what did you get? Did you get a little chocolate bar?
I got Signature Dark. It's a little bear.
Oh, I got sea salt.
Oh, I love it.
I got Chad's chai. I got the cocoa mate, which is like my favorite of there. And I'm like, how did they know? Was this on purpose? Because this is my choice every time.
Y'all don't know this, but Taryn is a tea person. I'm definitely more coffee, like coffee girl all the way. Taryn is a tea person. So this was very much on brand for you.
So at the conference yesterday, they announced that this year, because of the feedback they got, they're doing iced coffee. And I was like, ooh. And she turned to me, Jordan's like, you don't even drink coffee. I was like, I just want to be supportive.
He's like, ooh, that's great. And I'm like, okay, Taryn, like, you're so sweet. But she doesn't even drink coffee. No, that's just such a Taryn thing to do. Like, still be your hype woman, even though she literally does. It doesn't impact her at all.
But they did have lavender lemonade, which was delicious.
It was super cute. Wait, it was Be Kind Coffee Co. in Winston, right? Okay.
They're in Clemens, North Carolina, but they're amazing.
Yes. We got earbuds for AirPods. So I steal Tom's AirPods, but I will be getting AirPods eventually. So that's exciting. And then I think that's the gist of it. Oh, I did have one thing I wanted to say that I thought was really interesting, because a lot of people were complimenting me and you. They were like, you guys looked so good on stage, just appearance wise. They were like, oh, you guys, your outfits looked boss. Like we were in our little blazers and everything. And I watched this thing that they were talking about attractiveness. And they were like, a bad bitch is not real. It's created. I heard that. And I was like, that's so true. Like the person that you're looking up to or seeing, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like that's amazing. It's like, well, they stepped into that day. Like we stepped into that day, and now look at us sipping coffee, chilling, and it's just like
hanging out. I have a Baby Yoda blanket on. Like,
yes. And it doesn't make you a faker. You just step into different personas. I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
And speaking of power, I know that we were talking about yesterday with networking, just the power of connection. And so I wanted to talk to you about our process through the networking aspect, because we got asked, hey, can you do a networking event to 300 people? Quite
from a stage where nobody can really get up. I mean, we had people create motion and stand up, but like, everyone's kind of in their seats.
Yeah.
300 people. So yeah, it was like, yeah, of course we could do that. Oh my gosh.
Like, we got this.
And I will say too, it's funny because you and I have partnered on things. I've been a guest on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. You've been a guest expert inside my Empower for Profit Collective membership. We've done things. So I felt like, okay, I'm going to be so honest. I don't know if they were like, oh, hey, we're going to have you do a partnered activity at this conference on a stage with this other person. I'd be like, I don't know if that's like the vibe. I was the hater of the group project in like middle school, high school. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna carry it.
You know why she hates group projects? Because she was the one doing all the work, and then I was the one in the group project that would just get to present at the end, because they were like, okay, yeah, you can present. I'll just do all. That's why. Me literally had this discussion with Kay Hillman yesterday.
Terrible.
She is so on it with stuff, y'all. She crushed the PowerPoints, by the way. But that's so funny.
Thank you. But I was like, oh yeah, this is not my favorite thing. But then I'm like, oh hey, we thought you could do this with Jordan. I was like, sold, done. Will be amazing. And it's because we were very conversational, like very comfortable.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like, I mean, we put effort, but we didn't have to like rehearse. It was like, okay, let's.
We
have
weren't
a
like you go,
like,
I go. Like I really did feel like it was good, which is so nice. And there's.
Yeah.
But it's interesting with that. We were asked to do a networking thing, and we were kind of like, okay, you can either do something like everyone else has done it. And we could have really just looked up exactly what a networking, we did research, but we also were like, how can we do this in a different way that's going to help kind of break through the walls? And we had 2 different sessions. And the first one I thought was really powerful for them to feel connected to each other. If you want to share a little bit more about what we did to create that sense of connection with the other people in the room.
Yeah. I mean, I even have my slides up as
she's so prepared, guys. You want her in your group project.
I was like, I'm that person. But I don't know. It's hard sometimes when you think about networking, because it's something that some people roll their eyes or they feel immediately like, oh, that's so not something I would enjoy at all. There's so much pressure when you think of what networking is. And I think it's because of how we've been trained to look at it. Mm-hmm. And so our first activity, I was like, let's just break it down here and talk about the fact that networking is way more than that. And it's about getting to know each other and relationships. And so that's what Jordan and I really talked about. And the fact when you go to these events, when you go to a conference, when you go to a workshop or a retreat, usually it's because you're someone who is growing and you have a goal. There's something that you're trying to accomplish. So our first one, we had everyone think about like, what is the goal that you cannot stop thinking about?
Yes, keeps you up at night. But it's kind of scary to share.
a little scary. And so we had these colorful index cards, had everybody write down what that goal is. We gave them a little bit. DJ Dan played some music.
DJ Dan.
Shout out to DJ Dan. And so played some music. We did that. And then we went in where Jordan did a great job of talking about the things that keep us from those goals. So like limiting beliefs, obstacles, and really fear that is shouting or sometimes whispering and being a tricky little bastard like in your head and telling you like, oh yeah, that big goal. I don't know about that. Like, are you sure? You're sure that's for you? Are you sure that you're going to be able to get there? Are you sure? And because we all have that. Mm-hmm. So we did that. We had them write down what that objection looks like. What is that voice of fear telling them?
And it was a cool activity. And at the time, they didn't realize that they would actually be sharing those scary goals and those fears with a stranger. So we had them share that. And the whole point of this was for you to recognize sometimes when you're working towards a goal or we see someone else achieving something, like maybe you saw our stories and we were on stage and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it was really cool. I'm not gonna lie. It was awesome. But seeing that and then thinking like, oh, I could never do that. Or you have this goal for yourself and you're like, but I don't think I could ever really start my own business. Or I don't think I could ever really, I don't know, be a model or whatever, like crazy thing that you have, be an influencer. I know some of you guys have something that you're almost afraid to tell your friends because you're like, I don't want to be made fun of, but there's a reason you have that dream. And if we can start to realize that other people have these dreams too, and they also have fear and you're allowed to have both, I think that was really the message we were trying to get across, right?
Yeah, it was really cool seeing that many women stand up with their card in their hand with their goal and the voice that they hear, what that's telling them, and then like shift. And we're like, the shift starts with you. And we had them take those cards and trade them with people. And then we had attendees read what someone else wrote, see how it resonates, and like write down some form of encouragement or empowering saying or words or something to help them remember, don't listen to that voice, or like, I've been there, or and maybe it resonated where they read it and they were like, oh my God, literally same, like same girl, that is me. And then they were able to write something that maybe someone else has spoken over them. So that was really cool. We had them all gathered at not the people, but all the cards gathered at a table later. And so a lot of women got to go through and read
and find them.
It was just really neat to get to see and hear feedback from so many of the women there yesterday and talking about, oh my God, that was so helpful. Or God, like I read other people's and it's like not even my card, but reading what the other people wrote down. She's like, it's like, we all face these same things. She's like, I always think it's just me. I'm like, no, it's not just you. It's all of us. Even the women, a lot of us are doing things scared, like shaking or being super nervous or sweating to death up on that stage. You're pushing because you know you staying small and not letting your light shine isn't serving anybody. And so you do it even when it is nerve-wracking. And so a lot of the women you see who are doing the things you want to do, and at the end of the day, none of them are more special than you.
Yeah, it's true. And when you are trying to put yourself out there and work towards these big goals, sometimes we associate like when you're uncomfortable or when something feels hard or difficult, we're like, oh, I take that as a sign. I just shouldn't do this. Like the first obstacle, whether it's mental or physical obstacle that comes up, we see it as, this is my sign. I just shouldn't do it. When really, I think it's God, universe is asking us to just expand ourselves and grow. And we know in the long run, we're going to feel better. Like me and you on stage, like, I was sweating. You were cold.
I got down like shivering, teeth chattering because of my nerves. But then Jordan's like taking her blazer off. She's like, I'm dying over here.
In my freaking tube top at a networking event, but it's fine. I'm not what you would expect at a networking event, but it's okay.
It was amazing. And just on that note, I want to talk about the other one we did too, because I feel like it's so important on how to approach community building and networking and connections and growth, but like how you feel those feelings of like, well, what if I'm nervous, or, oh, this doesn't feel right. Like maybe it's a sign I'm not meant to do it. In my experience, and over the last 7 years of working with other creative women, that's a sign to do it. That's a sign that means you're meant for this. And even at the event, we had multiple speakers, honestly, who had really heavy shit going on and just felt a little attacked that day and had just things going on, whether it was spiritual or physical or with family or and it's like those things happen in our life and it feels so hard when you're trying, like, you're here for this other goal and it's like, God, like this is getting in the way. But when you push past that stuff, we saw so many of those speakers who were up there with us push past and get encouragement from each other. And look what they said from that stage. Look at the impact. Look at the glossy eyes throughout the crowd tearing up over words that were being shared, messages that were being shared. But I'm just saying, if you sometimes have those goals to get up, to talk, to do things, to grow your business, to go after goals in your personal life, whatever, and it feels hard or it feels like that's it, there's too much stuff getting in the way, let that be your green light to keep freaking going forward, because there's probably a reason something or someone's trying to hold you back, because you are meant for something really great.
That's so powerful. That is so powerful. We see these people, we see other people doing it and we think, oh, they have it all together. And that's not the case at all. And then you can still grow even in your discomfort. And not only can you, but that's a part of the process. It's a part of the journey. The stuff will come up. It's funny how with clients, I don't know if you noticed this when you were in BCB with me, but it's like as soon as they would make that decision to start focusing on themselves and their health, you know, some crazy thing at work would happen, or they would get sick, or it's like that stuff would happen and it's almost combating that growth and you got to just overcome it. And that's really where that strength comes from, is that more so even than just achieving the goal. It's everything you go to get to that point.
Definitely.
Yeah. We got good feedback from that. This was a really cool activity. But the second one I was surprised by, because we kind of took a piece of networking and shifted it a little bit. And I'd love for you to speak on what we talked about.
Yeah, because when you hear networking and like the activities, a lot of them go from like the more corporate-y, black and white, oh, here's what we're going to do. Here's your pitch. And you say hello and blah, blah, blah. And so we took something kind of old school, but I feel like we did it in like a fun, creative way. We got really cool feedback from people, but there's a term that a lot of people use with networking called a give and a get. And so basically when we go to something like a networking event or we're meeting people, if we have goals we're working on, it's really easy to think, I need this. Like I need to meet someone. I need them to want to hire me, or I need them to want to give me an opportunity or recommend me. And it's kind of me centered. And so a give and a get helps you have that lens of like, yes, what do I need to ask help with, or what opportunity am I needing to ask for, but also what can I do for someone else?
Yeah.
So we explain the difference and reminding people, like, you have no idea who's in the room, especially a conference that size with women on the move. There's massive. So being able to remind people, like, you have something of value that you can offer someone else, but you also need to give yourself permission to ask for what you want too. Don't be afraid, which is funny because during the activity, and I can give examples if you want, but we have examples of gives and gets to get people's brains going, and we had them write them on the card. When we asked, would you like to share? We need someone brave who wants to share something they can give. A lot of hands went up. It did. A lot of hands went up. And Jordan, I mean, like a rock. I mean, she flew and jumped over the freaking stage. Was like, do I do stairs? Do I just jump over the platform?
Just jumped off the stage. It's fine.
Jumps off the stage, goes rogue, runs down and like grabs the mic. It was like a freaking game show. I was like, she's amazing. And so
I would be like, a game show host for sure.
What a partner in crime. So she runs down, but this is what I found very interesting. What do you have to give? We're women. Everyone's like, oh, that's the thing that they're offering. I can offer this. I can offer that. I can give someone
Lots
this.
of hands went up.
Okay. Now, do we have someone brave? What is your get? What is the thing that you need help with?
Asking.
Do you know how many hands freaking went up?
I count on one hand.
I had to be like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
300 women. But this is the thing.
300.
A couple hands. But I'm like, that's the difference, is we're so often the helpers and the nurturers. And it's like, oh, I could offer this. I could help. Or the people pleasers. And there's nothing wrong with helping or offering.
Oh, no.
But when you have a big goal and you have something you need help with, and you know there's a possibility of someone right in that room that could give you that thing that would change the game, don't stay quiet. Ask for that thing. And so it was really cool. So we did have an awesome, brave person who did ask for what she was needing. And so I just want to encourage that too, if you're listening, because it is hard. Sometimes we want to be the helper, but we don't want to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Both sides are so important, because sometimes we come in there, like you said, some people come in there like, okay, what can I get out of this? When you're going into a conference, when you're going into any kind of relationship, friendship, whatever. And, there's nothing wrong with setting intention beforehand, but you also need to realize you always, no matter where you're at in your life journey, you have something to give. And so there's such a power to both. And it's also so important to ask for help. And I think Taryn and I have learned that a lot more, is like, when we think about where we're at in the success of our businesses, of life, family, everything, is like, we couldn't have done it alone. It all comes from the connection that we've had with others and actually asking for the help we need, right?
Yeah. Even the way we started the very first activity that Jordan and I like partnered on, we started introducing ourselves separately. And then it was like, well, why are we up here together? Because we don't have the same businesses. I do creative business coaching with creative entrepreneurs, and Jordan, you do something totally different. We both are very fundamental, and we want to empower women to go after their best life. We want them to honor the things that are important to them. But we, at one point, were strangers. We didn't know each other at all. Maybe I came across your Instagram, but we had someone who connected us, that we had a common entity. And then not only did we connect, but then it's like we worked together in different capacities. We've partnered on projects. We now did a conference together. So you never know who's in the room, whether it's physical or virtual. You never know who you're going to meet and what opportunities that's going to happen, and what relationships. And that's really what networking is. Like, we can talk about building connections and networking, but if those terms make you feel a little frigid and like, oh, that's so corporate-y, or that's not really a me kind of thing, ditch them. And just instead it's, meeting someone new, making a friend, finding someone who gets me, finding my people, building my community or circle. That's really, at the end of the day, what it is.
Exactly. And so breaking up with the idea of networking is really what we wanted you guys to see from this, is like, it's all about the power of connection. And I thought it was really interesting. So we were looking through the cards at the end of the session of people's gives and gets, and it was powerful to see how many people are craving that connection of, I just want a walking buddy. I want to get coffee with a girlfriend, or have a mom group. And all these things are so needed.
A lot of friendship.
And then it was cool because there were other people who were willing to give that. They're like, I would love to just be there for someone, be a mentor, just be a friend. And if we're not putting ourselves out there, we're never going to figure it out. Like me and you, if we had never connected, we wouldn't have been there. We wouldn't have been on stage if we hadn't put ourselves out there. I had to ask to get on stage that last year. And so it led to so many different things. And same with you. Our connection, like you said, it started from just a friend introducing us, and then it turned into all these other things. I mean, you could consider that networking, but I didn't go into it, neither did you, I'm sure, of being like, okay, what can I get out of this connection?
What can Jordan
networking connection with Taryn? Like, that's what I'm going to focus on. Instead, it was like, okay, let's get to know each other. We broke down walls pretty quickly. Being able to work together at different capacities was really cool. And it was really about just seeing that as the reason. And I think if you go into, because I know some people will come up to me and they're like, J.Go, I don't even know how to make friends as an adult. And so let's take a step from networking and just connecting with people, whether it's the people that are going to get you farther in your career and life and other things, but just in general, connecting with your people. What advice would you give to someone? And I have some thoughts too, but I'd love to hear your thoughts of how to put yourself out there, make more friends, find your people, I guess.
I think it was Kay yesterday when she was Kay Hillman, who we both are friends with and have worked with.
We love you,
I've
Kay.
worked with in different capacities. She mentioned in her session was all about wealth activation, but I loved one of the things she said, which was stay curious. What can you try? What things haven't you thought of? It is lonely in entrepreneurship, which is what I do. And I'm also a mom of a toddler. And just being an adult woman can be really lonely sometimes. And it is hard. So stay curious. If you see someone share something on social media, if you are at the library with your toddler and another mom looks kind of cool and you're like, oh, I wonder where she lives, or like, I wonder her kid's the same age.
Moms. I love it.
Be curious. Go say hi, introduce yourself, be like, hey, do you guys come to the library a lot? We come every Wednesday. Oh, maybe you exchange phone number. We're so afraid to interact. And I think with the pandemic too, that kind of changed the way we interact with people. And I don't know, I think some of us got comfortable being by ourselves a little bit too. But on Instagram, I'll see someone like, even if you tag someone in something on a story and I'm like, oh, who's that? And then I go and I look at her profile and I'm like, oh, she seems freaking awesome. And I'll follow things. There is nothing wrong with messaging that person being like, hey, you don't know me, but I saw Jordan and you talk about this on the podcast, or I just wanted to introduce myself, or like, hey, would you want to do a virtual coffee date? Be curious. Remember, the worst thing someone can say is no or ignore you. And then how bad is that? Whatever, you move on.
Not even the worst. Yeah.
Who cares? My husband's really good at this. Just putting yourself out there, doing things. He is not the most social person, but the things he likes to do aren't solo. He likes to play chess. He likes to do tennis. He likes to do card games. These are things that like you need more than one person. So he's like, I'm ruthless. I'll just be like, hey, do you want to do this? Because he's like, I like to do these things. So same thing. If you're like, I want to start walking every day, but you're like, I'm really bad at doing that alone. I have no accountability. I'd love to talk to someone while I go walk. Okay, go in a Facebook group or go ask someone. Like, you have to ask, and you get what you want when you ask. And if the answer is no, that's fine. But if you don't ask, the answer is no.
Yeah. So it's better to just ask and you'll find the right person. The one that says no is not a big deal. That was another thing one of the speakers said, which is a good reminder, is don't take things personally, because the person might say no because they had a really hard situation and they are really stressed out. Don't be like, oh, they said no because it's about me. It's like, they just met you. They didn't say no. It's obviously not about you. It's
or if they ignore a message or an email, it's like, oh God, they just ignored me. Or they had a lot going on, or they switched. Yesterday, I found out that apparently Kay has been texting my phone for a year to the wrong phone number. So I've never replied to a text. So to Kay, she may have been like, oh my God, this girl's like totally ignoring me, because we just assume that we don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact is, oh, my phone number is different. So sometimes we do it might be something personal or whatever, but like give someone the benefit of the doubt too. And it may not be a good time for them if you ask and they're just busy, and that's okay. But doesn't mean the next person is equally going to be busy or not have a want to hang out.
And another thing that you said with Leo, your husband, you're like, he likes to do these certain things. I think that's a big step too, is figure out what you like to do. Because sometimes my clients will get stuck. I mean, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with your coworkers, but not everyone has coworkers like the office, So they're only going to these coworker happy hours, or they're not leaving their house at all, or they're not really putting themselves out there. When, I was thinking about this, I don't like drinking that much. So I've been trying to find new places in Charlotte that are doing other things. And so I found this skate group in Charlotte that I'm like, I've been talking about doing this forever. So I'm speaking it into the podcast, but they meet together and they go skate around Charlotte. I just think it's so cool. And I've been skating alone in my parking deck just to be brave enough to go there.
Get that around, yeah.
But like, that's where I'm going and that's what I'm going to be doing. And it's something so small, but figure out what you like to do and then find out, okay, where are those people spending their time? Okay, so you work from home, maybe you go work at a coffee shop. You mentioned with kids, go to a park, and instead of being on your phone, this is a big one, your body language, instead of being on your phone, make a point of like, put my phone away, be open. Maybe I'll go onto the playground with kids and like strike up conversation. Walking my dog's a big one too. I definitely find that as a way to connect with people, and everyone's craving that connection. And like you said, post-COVID, the panorama threw us off, right? Everyone's kind of like, how do I socialize with people? I said the most awkward thing to someone at the conference yesterday.
Oh no.
Complimenting someone. I said something really awkward and I was just kind of like, okay, bye. And it's like, I'm an extrovert and that still happened to me. So it's okay. It's not a big deal, but just ask for what you want is really what we're trying to say here.
It is. Ask for what you want. Don't be afraid to connect, and don't sell yourself short and think either, oh, the thing that I want to ask for help, like no one's going to be able to do that. Or, oh, I have nothing to give, or such a lie. That is your brain playing tricks on you. There's always something that you can offer someone else. There's always something that you can ask for. And just reminding yourself, you don't know who's in the room. Your next best friend in your life could be at that event and you have no idea, or your biz bestie, or the person that's going to help change your life or give you that life-changing or career-changing opportunity or advice. You have no idea. So many people who have been incredibly integral parts of my career path, of my mindset path, all these things were strangers at one point.
Which is so crazy to think about. We haven't met your closest friends yet necessarily. And maybe you have, or maybe the person that's going to jumpstart your career or this dream or this vision that you have for your life. Putting yourself out there is what's going to help you get there. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's almost like exposure therapy. Go out and be willing to get rejected. And I'm like the worst. I give my clients, because I'm life coaching, I'm like giving them dating advice and we're talking through relationships. And when it comes to dating, you know, marrying my high school sweetheart, you understand, like, it's just like, so we're like, yeah, just put yourself out there. It literally feels like dating when you're trying to make friends and you're trying to connect with people, but like,
it's awkward. It's like, what do I do? Like, is it,
but the other person feels that way too. And so just putting yourself out there and focusing on connection and allow it to grow into something awesome. It can really be a great thing to do. There are other people seeking that.
A little thing that I've learned too, not everyone has to be your best friend. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to meet someone and casually have that, oh, now I have someone, we get coffee sometimes, or it's nice to get out because we both like to skate, or we both like to read, or we like to get charcuterie. Like, it's okay to have a workout buddy. It doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, I'm now an open book. And not everyone has to be your best friend. It's nice to sometimes have those people, whether it's career wise or health wise or friendship. Like, so just, it doesn't have to be that pressure of like, oh, well, we have everything in common.
This was a game changer. You don't have to rate your friends, but there are different levels to friendship, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to be your biz bestie. Not everyone is going to serve every single part of you. When you think about your self-care, there's a lot of different pieces to it. And so that person you might connect with on a work situation and you just really connect via work. Maybe you connect like with some commonality. That doesn't mean that they're going to relate to you on every single subject. And so I used to put a lot of pressure on that and thinking that they had to, and I would get frustrated because I'm like, why? I'm like seeking this. But if you find different areas for different friends, it really can work out well. And you kind of release the pressure of everyone having to be everything for you. And like, that's not the point of connection and relationships.
No,
it's really
we're not meant to do life alone. We're not meant to do business alone. So finding those people that fill the different aspects of life are great. You don't have to put pressure for them to be the end all be all of a relationship you're looking for.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a reminder too, if you're listening to this and you are someone who like, oh, these conferences sound so cool. Like sometimes I see them or I see ads for a retreat or a conference or a summit, these kinds of things. You're like, well, I don't know if it's a good fit, or it's really hard to take time off work or away from the kids or whatever to do those things. It's so worth it. I mean, every time, Jordan, like every time, and we were speakers and stuff, but we also get to sit and listen to all the presentations and be involved in the networking, and you leave these events changed every time. You meet amazing people. You have time to shut other things out and have a designated time where you're really feeling poured into and inspired and motivated and have clarity on new things and you're learning. They're so valuable. And so if you are in North Carolina and Women on the Move happens next year and you want to attend, great. But there's so many conferences. And so
everywhere.
Look for those things and don't write them off as like, oh, well, I don't have time for that, or I don't know, I'm kind of introverted, or they're incredibly beneficial.
Yeah. Putting yourself outside your comfort zone, you could have some amazing friends on the other side of that, or connections, or getting you to exactly what you were looking for in your life. And so it's worth that risk. It really is. And your growth is not going to come without risks. If you really want to step into that next space or really show up as yourself unapologetically, well, you got to show up first. So start showing up for yourself. When I hosted my retreat, I had a couple girls that came and they didn't know anyone. They literally didn't know anyone. But because there was a commonality there of like, we're seeking that connection. We wanted to go to the beach. We wanted to focus on confidence and wellness and all this stuff. They immediately connected with the girls. They were already talking about getting a beach house together for the next retreat. That's the kind of beauty of putting yourself out there that can happen. And so it's like, why not? Don't hold yourself back from some really amazing experiences, and stay tuned because we're working on some things behind the scenes. So definitely make sure you're following us, because I just think that connection, especially in person, is so valuable. And we just want to be able to create more opportunities for you. But in the meantime, y'all seek those opportunities, stay curious for yourself, and you might find some really cool people like Taryn Jerez,
That's right. And J.Go.
Cheers. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing a little
Cheers.
coffee chat with me, Taryn. It was good to see you
Yeah.
again. Y'all, she has done a full rebrand on her business coaching page. So follow her at Go For It Creative. We'll have her link in the show notes. She is a creative business coach. So wherever you're at and starting or desiring to start a business, definitely reach out to her. We're both open books when it comes to the DMs. So let us know if you have any follow-up thoughts or questions about the power of connection, networking. If you're also, I don't know, if you're in corporate or you got some connections and you want some more speaking event opportunities, we are very open to that too, in a small or large group format. Hit us up. We're doing more speaking, and we hope that you find a way today to step out of your comfort zone and connect with someone in a new way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. All right, y'all. See you next time.